Okay, now we're continuing on with the seed launch, and we're talking about, now we're going to talk about well, there's two ways to do this. We just talked about the product build out. Now we're going to talk about the show me the money method. And this one's more complicated. It's harder to pull off, but it really does build your list and it makes you money at the same time. I've literally seen people build serious businesses from scratch by following this model. And I'm talking like six-figure businesses within the first year. Now it's possible to screw this up because I've seen some people do this and be overly manipulative. And when they do that, they ended up burning some bridges and really sort of killing their business by doing that. So this is the one where it's possible for there to be shenanigans involved, and you want to avoid that and be ethical about this because it starts off similar to the product build out in that you line up a series of experts who are willing to be interviewed on a teleseminar or a webinar. And the way they do this is they hopefully will offer maybe like 60 minutes of content and then pitch their product at the end of the call. Take 10 minutes, 15 minutes to pitch their product at the end of the call. Usually the pitch is made through an affiliate link, so you get a cut of the sales. So as you're doing this, you're making money from affiliate sales. So it's beautiful because you have the expert on your call and they're actually providing the content and you're getting paid an affiliate commission for any products that are sold. So you definitely want to, when you're lining up the experts, you want to let them know it's part of a series that you're doing. You do something like this, you probably want to do 6 calls or I mean, you could do something like 4 calls, but probably 6 calls or 8 calls. And you let the experts know that they're doing it as a part of a series. Now, one of the things you can do, and this is where the potential sliminess comes into play, is you use social proof of other experts, that other experts are going to be on this webinar or teleseminar series, and having experts will attract other experts. Now, where I've seen this backfire is where people went and they invited a bunch of experts and they didn't get a yes from any of the experts, but they basically, they had guru A, B, C, and D, and they sent invitations to guru A, B, and C, and they went and they put photos of guru A, B, and C on the page like all those gurus had already said yes, and they did it as a social proof way to get everyone else to, the other gurus on board. So that, you're walking a fine line of sliminess. I mean, you can just say them, hey, these are the ones I've invited, and as soon as you get one to say yes, then you can say, hey, Guru A said yes, I'd love to have you on because it's going to be a really great series. But basically, you can use social proof. It's like a domino thing. If you can get one person to say yes, then you can use the social proof of that one person to get another person, and then you can walk forward doing that. And next thing you know, if you can just get 1 or 2 experts to say yes, then you can usually line up 6 or 8 of them really easily. And if you've got 6 or 8 gurus lined up and they've all got lists, now the key is to get them to mail their lists. Now, they aren't always going to be happy mailing their lists, but again, you can use a social proof routine that the other gurus, agreed to mail and they're going to mail. The other thing is once you start to build you with each guru, if each guru mails for that webinar or teleseminar, now you're building your list with each call. And if you add 200 people to or 500 people or 1,000 people with each call or each webinar, you can see how you can build a list very quickly. And then what starts to happen is, so say you had, you're going to have you're going to have 6 calls, and the first call you put 200 people on your list. Now you've got 200 people, and now you're going to do your second call. Guru B mails, and you get 200 more people on the list, but you have the original 200, and now you're mailing all 400 telling them about this new call, that this webinar is coming up. Now you've got 400 people on the line, and you have 400 people you could potentially sell when you make your offer at the end of the call. Then Guru C, you're going to interview, and he mails and he puts 200 more people on your list. Now you've got 600 people that you're mailing and telling them about your call. And you can see how you can walk forward. Each time gets more powerful. And as you start to build your list, then when you're lining up more gurus, maybe you're into your 7th week now, and you can say you've already done 6 calls and you've got 1,200 people on your list. Guru, for the 7th call, you can say, hey, we've got this list of 1,200 people, and we're going to be mailing them, and we're going to be putting them on the call as well. So you can see it becomes a snowball, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And I've seen this over and over. It's worked very effectively. The toughest thing is getting that first guru to say yes and to mail their list. That's the toughest part. So, how do you reach them? You do it sort of like the same way I talked about in the JV training, the way you reach a JV. You can attend an event where they're speaking. You can attend their event. You can follow them on Facebook, on Twitter. You can post comments on their blog. You can write about, you can buy their products. You can sell their products as an affiliate. What you want to do is maybe pick out a handful of targets and then work very hard to get on their radar, and then eventually ask them for the interview, and ask them to mail their list for the interview as well. Then, of course, as you walk forward, each time you do one of these, you're mailing your list about the next teleseminar or webinar. You pitch at the end of the call. You can make it more attractive if you allow them to pitch, and you say, I don't even want an affiliate commission. You can keep 100%. So it's your decision on that. And maybe some of the times you do that. Maybe some of the times you take a commission. Everything is a negotiation. Like maybe the first time or the first couple times when you're still building up that social proof, maybe you don't take a cut as an affiliate. Maybe you change it going forward. So after you do the call, you have to follow up with a replay. You email your list and send them to a link where they can listen to the replay. And then you need to follow up with an email about the offer. Basically reiterating the offer that was made in the teleseminar. Make sure there's a deadline so people have a reason to jump on board, a reason to act. A deadline always gets them to move. Now, the toughest part, I mentioned this, is getting the first expert to participate and to mail his or her list. Once you get the first couple in place, they fall like dominoes, and this gets real easy. Now, this is harder to do in the internet marketing world, although I've seen it done at least 2 or 3 times in the internet marketing world. I've also seen it done in other niches. And generally in other niches outside of internet marketing, it's like 10 times easier, because the experts aren't getting approached to do interviews all the time. In fact, they're probably almost never getting approached to do interviews. I've seen this work really, really effectively in all kinds of different niche markets, and much easier to do in those markets. So this is the Show Me the Money seed launch, and it is incredibly powerful. It's, like I said, it's not the easiest thing in the world to do. It takes some work. It takes some hustling. It takes some negotiation. You have to get out there and talk to people, whether it's on the phone or at live events. But once you line up 2 or 3 experts, you are in the money, and it's extremely doable. Okay, just have to wrap up and give you a couple of some resources. This is actually, I borrowed this portion from the pre-launch content tools mind map, but basically you really want these calls to be interactive. Well, I think you do want them to be interactive, and if you want them to be interactive, you need to have the ability to mute and unmute individual lines, because even if you have 10 or 15 people on the call, if you just try to open up the entire line, the way the bridge lines work is you can mute the line or you can unmute it. If you mute it, then people are only going to be able to hear you and any other presenters, anyone who calls in through the presenter line and the presenter pin code. That's the way they work. So as a presenter, you can mute the line where they can only hear you, or you can unmute the line and then everyone can hear everyone else. And when you unmute the line, it's absolute chaos. There's always going to be, someone's going to be yelling at their kid, someone's going to be flushing the toilet, someone's going to be having a conversation with someone else, and you're going to hear all that. So even if there's only 10 or 20 people on the line, it'll be very noisy, and you'll get to hear every cough and sneeze, everything going on in the background, so you don't want that. Now, there are services that will allow you to mute and unmute individual lines, so someone can, if they hit a special code like a *1 or a *2, it will raise their hand, and you're going to be able to see that, them raising their hand, and then you can individually unmute just their line, so you're not getting a lot of extra noise in the background. So you definitely want that capability if you're going to have any kind of interactivity at all. In teleseminars, you can use Instant Teleseminar and GoToWebinar. Both have that capability to unmute lines individually. If you go with voice text, I'm not sure if you'll have that. You can ask them. They can probably provide that capability. It'll probably be more expensive. FreeConferenceCall.com didn't used to, but they might be doing it now. I heard a rumor that it was coming, so it might be there. There are lots of other people that will provide bridge lines, but remember to ask about that ability to mute and unmute individual lines. With webinars, the two primary ones that I know of are Instant Teleseminar and GoToWebinar, and both of those give you the capability to mute and unmute individual lines. So that's it for the seed launch. Again, this is a really powerful way to build a product. It's the easiest and fastest way to build a product. You can do it with a very small list. And once you have a product, you've got a lot more power. You can potentially attract joint venture partners and affiliates. And then, of course, if you're up to the task, that hyper seed launch is super powerful. Great way to start from scratch. It's not the easiest. You need to hustle a bit. You need to be able to talk to people, negotiate with people, and convince them to come on with you.